Yo, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to a brand new video. Today, I will be going over my personal 20 race super season for the 2021 Formula One calendar. It's not going to be hyper realistic, I'll go ahead and say that now, but I'm sure it will be going places you would never expect me to put on the calendar. And with that, let's get right into it. Round number 1. Bathurst. Starting out the season with the Australian Grand Prix has done F1 really well over the last few years, hasn't it? Well, I'm taking it a step further and taking Formula One to the most popular and difficult circuit in Australia, Mount Panorama Circuit. Sure, it's not realistic, but who cares? To watch those cars fly up and down the mountain would be simply incredible, especially in the last season of this downforce era of Formula One. Bathurst has 23 corners. It is 6.213 kilometers in distance, and its elevation change from the bottom to the top of the circuit is 174 meters. The unofficial lap record around Bathurst was set by Jenson Button in the McLaren MP4-23 with a 148.8. Round number 2, we're going back to Sepang for the Malaysian Grand Prix. Going back to the realistic realm, the circus would head off to Malaysia for the return of Herman Tilke's best creation, Sepang International Circuit. The circuit has created some of the best mixed condition races and dry races of the last few decades since its arrival in 1999. It has 15 corners, around 5.5 kilometers in distance. It last hosted a GP in 2017, and it is definitely the best Herman Tilke design. The race lap record is held by Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari from 2017 with a time of 1 minute 34.080 seconds, and I'm sure that would get obliterated with the 2021 cars. Now off to round number 3, and we're a little bit more realistic now, and we really need to leave some of the best races of the calendar on the calendar for 2021. So here we are, we're going to the Bahrain GP, and although I believe it's a worse circuit than Sepang for the drivers, it's an incredible circuit for racing. The Bahrain GP every season has one of the highest overtaking frequencies on the calendar, which solidifies it a spot in my super season in 2021. It has 15 corners, is 5.4 kilometers in circuit length, and it has hosted a night race since the 2014 Classic duel between the two Mercedes drivers of Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. It also had the second most overtakes in 2019. The lap record, granted on a different layout than the current layout, is held currently by Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari F2004 with a time of 1 minute 30.252. Round 4, the Macau Grand Prix. This is one of, if not the tightest and toughest circuit to hit a single lap on, much less 70 in a row with no mistakes. Obviously dangerous, but who cares about danger? The Macau Grand Prix has been one of the most prestigious races to win outside of F1 for decades, so why not graduate to F1 finally? This legendary circuit has 22 corners and is 6.2 kilometers in length, and it is home to the most prestigious junior formula event. The race lap record is held by Juri Vips from the High-Tech GP Formula 3 team with a time of 2 minutes 6.317 seconds. Now, here we go for round number 5. It is the Portuguese Grand Prix at Portimao. Now that it has finally landed a spot on the Formula One calendar, everyone will see just how spectacular of a circuit this is. Plenty of elevation changes, hard braking zones, and fast corners to make any F1 fan drool over the opportunity to see these cars in person at such a wonderful circuit. 15 corners, 4.6 kilometers in circuit length, and it has hosted a McLaren F1 test in 2008. And it has been a regular ELMS host ever since. The lap record is held by Nicolas Lapierre with the Peugeot 908 LMP1 car with a time of 1 minute 30.681. Now here we go to round 6, the Monaco Grand Prix. Do I even need to explain myself here? Monaco is a staple in F1 and will never go away. The toughest circuit in the world to hit an absolutely perfect lap on, especially in a Formula 1 car. 19 corners, 3.3 kilometers in circuit length, and has hosted an F1 race every season since 1950. Max Verstappen holds the race lap record in the Red Bull RB14 from 2018 with a time of 1 minute 14.260. On now to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the Canadian Grand Prix. Retaining its spot as the 7th round of the season after Monaco is a fan favorite and driver favorite circuit, Montreal. This track has some incredibly difficult corners and great sections for side-by-side racing and overtaking. Plus, what would the F1 season be like without the Wall of Champions? With 14 corners and 4.3 kilometers in circuit length, this circuit was named after the late Gilles Villeneuve and is also home to the apex seagull of Sebastian Vettel's nightmares. The race lap record is held by Valtteri Bottas and the Mercedes W10 with a time of 1 minute 13.0788. Long but fast circuit, and a real driver's circuit as well. Speaking of driver circuits, here we are going to round number 8, the German Grand Prix at the Nürburgring Nordschleife combined. Yes, you heard me correctly. Not only would Germany return to the calendar, the most iconic circuit in motorsports would make its return after over 50 years out of the sport. The iconic pig is the toughest circuit in the world and would be perfect for the super season idea. Once again, not realistic, but are you really going to argue against me here? 170 corners, 25.378 kilometers in circuit length. It is the longest circuit in the world and home to the world famous 24 hours of Nürburgring. Dirk Werner is the lap record holder around the combined layout with a time of 8:18.170 seconds in the Porsche 911 GT3R of 2018. Now here we go from one incredible endurance circuit to another. Round number 9, the French Grand Prix at Circuit de la Sarthe, aka Le Mans. The only time Formula 1 ever visited Le Mans was in 1967 when it hosted the French Grand Prix on the Bugatti circuit of the time. Back then it was just a parking lot, so it got dropped after only one appearance on the calendar. But why not try the entire circuit? Imagine the top speeds of these cars going down the Mulsanne, and those Porsche curves would be absolutely insane. 33 corners, 13.6 kilometers in circuit length. It is the most historic endurance facility in the world, and it is home to the famous 24 hours of Le Mans. The race lap record goes to Mike Conway in the Toyota TS050 with a time of 3 minutes 17.297. Now, for round number 10, we're bringing it back down to earth just a little bit, and we're having the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Obviously, I can't leave out the best circuit on the island. Silverstone hosted the first Grand Prix and needs to be around until the last Grand Prix. Stowe, Copse, Maggots, and Beckett's, Brooklands, and Luffield are only half of the corners on this track, but all of them are incredibly iconic. The only sad part about this layout is the lack of bridge corner, but I think we can live with this incredible circuit. 18 corners and 5.9 kilometers in circuit length. As I said earlier, it hosted the first Formula 1 Grand Prix, and this circuit layout has actually changed 7 times in its history, the most of any circuit on the Formula 1 calendar today. Max Verstappen holds the race lap record after last Sunday's British Grand Prix in 2020 with the Red Bull RB16 with a time of 1 minute 27.097. Round number 11, Fuji. We have the European season, Asian season, and American season. Well, let's just have a Japanese season. Sounds like heaven, right? First stop in Japan will be the wonderful Fuji Speedway, one of the most iconic circuits in the world. Its recent redesign has taken away one of the most iconic corners in Asia, but the circuit is still too amazing to deny it a spot. 16 corners, 4.5 kilometers in circuit length. This place is Japan's Temple of Speed at an elevation of 573 meters. The Race lap record was taken by Felipe Massa in the Ferrari F2008 with a time of 1 minute 18.426 seconds. Round number 12, the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka. Suzuka is the best circuit in Asia by a long stretch and a top 5 circuit in the world for sure. So, do I really need to waste your time explaining why I put this on the list? 18 corners, 5.8 kilometers in circuit length. It is the only figure-of-8 circuit in Formula 1, and it is Japan's most popular circuit. The race lap record is held by Lewis Hamilton in last year's Mercedes W10 with a time of 1 minute 30.98. Here we are on to the Sportsland Grand Prix at Sportsland Sugo. Now, this is why I wanted to hurry up with Suzuka. Sportsland Sugo may be a circuit not too many of you have heard of before, but trust me, it is incredible. With a great mixture of fast, medium, and slow speed corners, there are easily 2 DRS zones on this track for the perfect overtaking opportunities into heavy braking zones. With 12 corners and 3.7 kilometers of circuit length, it is the host of Super Formula and Super GT, and it is Japan's largest motorsports venue. Naoki Yamamoto is the lap record holder in the Honda NSX GT500 with a time of 1 minute 10.248. Here we go to round 14, the Belgian Grand Prix. I'm sure I was starting to worry you guys a bit, but it's here. As a return to Europe for a short 3-race break before flying to the Americas, we go back to Europe with a bang. It's just Spa-Francorchamps. Eau Rouge and Raidillon are magnificent, and Pouhon is pretty epic as well. Simply incredible circuit, top 5 in the world without a doubt. 19 corners and 7 kilometers in circuit length. It is the longest track in the Formula 1 calendar currently, and it is home to the most iconic corners in motorsport, Eau Rouge and Raidillon. Valtteri Bottas is the race lap record holder in the Mercedes W09 of 2018 with a time of 1 minute 46.286. Now we're on to round number 15, the Italian Grand Prix. And just like in real life, Spa and Monza will be together forever. Both tracks deserve to be in F1, and F1 needs both of these circuits. F1 without Monza would be like WEC without Le Mans or IMSA without Daytona. It's just unacceptable. 11 corners, 5.93 kilometers of circuit length. This has been the host of the Italian Grand Prix since 1950, and it is the motorsport temple of speed for a reason. The lap record holder is Rubens Barrichello in the Ferrari F2004 with a 1 minute 21.046. To round number 16 for the Italian doubleheader. Yes, that's right. We're going to Imola, baby. Since it's making its return in 2020 to the F1 calendar for the first time since 2006, I would love to keep Autodromo Enzo Dino Ferrari on the calendar for another season. A true driver's track, Imola has played host to some of the most iconic and tragic events in Formula 1 history. And who wouldn't love a little Italian doubleheader? 21 corners, 4.9 kilometers in circuit length. This is Ferrari's home race, as the circuit's name suggests, and it last hosted a Formula 1 Grand Prix in 2006. The race lap record holder is Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari F2004 with a time of 1 minute 20.411. Round number 17, the New York Grand Prix at Watkins Glen. Having been off the calendar since 1980, this All-American gym is one of the best and most storied circuits in the Americas. An incredibly fast and short lap, it wouldn't be very safe, or fun to watch for that matter, due to the lack of overtaking areas for most of the lap. Nevertheless, it would be a spectacle that we would all love to see. 11 corners, 5.4 kilometers in circuit length. It hosted the most U.S. Grand Prix in Formula 1's history, and it last hosted the F1 GP in 1980. The race lap record holder is Scott Dixon in the Honda-powered Dallara DW12 in 2017 with a time of 1 minute 22.417. Here we go into round number 18. This is the true United States Grand Prix at the Daytona Road Course. We're getting a little bit wild here. Obviously, this would be highly unsafe and would likely result in some serious injuries. Thankfully, though, It won't happen, so we can all just appreciate how amazing it would be to spectate such an event. F1 cars flying around the baking at Daytona at over 200 miles per hour would be just simply beautiful. 12 corners, 5.7 kilometers in circuit length. It is the host of the Rolex 24 of Daytona and the Daytona 500, and is one of the U.S. crown jewel tracks. The race lap holder is Oliver Jarvis in the Mazda RT24P with a 1 minute 33.685. Here we go on to round number 19 and the last race in the United States leg of the championship. We are going to Long Beach for the Long Beach Grand Prix. For the final street circuit of the season, we have an American Classic to finish off the USA Triple Header. Long Beach is an incredibly challenging street course in California that plays host to IndyCar and other series annually, and last hosted an F1 race in 1983. Formerly known as the United States Grand Prix West, it would make a historic return to the calendar in 2021. 11 corners, 3.1 kilometers in circuit length. It last hosted a GP in 1983, is now a regular host of IndyCar and IMSA. Helio Castroneves holds the race lap record around Long Beach in the Chevrolet-powered Dallara DW12 with a time of 1 minute 6.225. And now here we are on the season finale. That's right. It is the Brazilian Grand Prix at Interlagos, baby. Is there a better track to end the season on than Interlagos? With some of the best title deciders in history, this Brazilian gem is back where it should be on the calendar. Would there actually be a title fight in Interlagos in 2021? Likely not, but maybe it would retain that position for 2022, when we might just have a title fight go down to the last race. 15 corners, 4.3 kilometers in circuit length. It has been a regular on the F1 calendar since 1972 and is named after the late José Carlos Pache, former Formula One driver from Brazil. The current race lap record is held by Valtteri Bottas in the 2018 Mercedes W09 with a 1 minute 10.540. And with that, my calendar is now finished. Leave a comment down below with your personal 2021 Super Season, and if you disagree with me in any of my picks, let me know. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and of course, my name has been Mr. Damage, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.